It's the rivalry game. It's Indiana against Purdue. It's Zach Edey against Trace Jackson Davis. And Jeff, you got the shirt on. There's a reason why you got that sweatshirt on. 79-71. Edey got the best of Trace Jackson Davis in the box score, but the Hoosiers completed the sweep of the Purdue Boilermakers. And right now, this is what they're saying in Bloomington. Hey, Purdue, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Man, I never would have thought this would have happened. Honestly, I mean, you know, how dominant Purdue is at Mackey. And I tweeted it before the game that, you know, it's probably like the second or third best home environment. You were there last week, Rob, with me. I mean, that student section's the real deal. It makes Carolina, John, look like the wine and cheese crowd that we talk about. But they're, you know, the bottom line was, and Rob and I saw this last week, right? When we watched Indiana play, Jalen Hood-Schifino made a real bonehead play down the stretch of that game where he basically just gave the ball to the other team. And then he comes back down the next possession and he hits a huge shot to help them win that game against Illinois at home. And you could just see the poise. And NBA guys told me this before the year when they went to their pro day. They all raved about his poise. You can't speed him up. Makes good decisions for the most part. Man, with Trace being a non-factor, a complete non-factor in the first half, Jalen Hood-Schifino, like, absolutely dominated the game in every which way. And to me, again, nobody in Purdue can guard him. That's the issue with Purdue for me. It's like, who's that athletic dude that you have that you can put on a guy like Jalen Hood-Schifino? They don't have one.
I mean, Hood-Schifino kind of took over towards the end. Every time it felt like Purdue was getting back in it, he had big shot after big shot. And, you know, you wonder if this Purdue team is kind of like becoming like the LeBron against the Pistons. I don't know what year it was, where they're like, hey, look, we can let Edey get 40 and we'll win. Edey gets 40 and no one else does anything else, we will win the ball game. And so, you know, I don't know if this is a game plan, but it looked like when Edey caught it in the middle, they were kind of letting him go one-on-one, and we got it down on the blocks. They were double teaming him, which, you know, the more and more I look at it, I think a rushed Edey hook would be in the benefit of the other team. It's a 2-point shot. It's a low post move. Doesn't get the other team involved. Doesn't get the offensive team offensively involved. So it was an interesting game to see, you know, Trace Jackson Davis not really play well, and they kind of just took over, man. They were playing harder. They were trying to dunk on Edey. I mean, I think the fear factor is gone for Purdue now. They're going to have to buckle up because it's about to get interesting.
Yeah, for me, the biggest thing was that I think what Purdue's game plan was defensively was they put Edey on Race Thompson and just basically said, we're not going to guard you. We're going to have two guys in the paint to take up space. Like when your help defender on Trace Jackson Davis is a 7'4", 290-pound national player, that you're like, you wonder why Trace.
It was a wall.
Months, right?
They had a wall on Trace.
Yeah, he's a wall. And that, to me, that's why I was so impressed about this performance, because they basically just said, we're going to force Jalen Hood-Schifino to beat us at home in our building in this rivalry game, when every single one of those students has probably been drinking for like 7 hours before the game started, right? Like they were not sober when they walked in there. They were loud.
Those engineers have been drinking.
They create the most innovative ways to drink. Okay. You know, they don't just need their pint glass with a little bit of beer in there. That they get creative with it. And Hood-Schifino, I cannot tell you, I would go so far as to say that was one of the 5 most impressive individual performances that we're going to see all season long.
Because he did it at Mackey. He did it at Mackey. He did everything, like the pull-ups, shooting threes, rebounding, making good decisions. And again, here's what it came down to. Like you guys said, okay, Edey and Trace, we're going to kind of who else? Who's going to step forward out of those other dudes? And the Purdue guys just did not show up. I mean, Mason Gillis didn't do anything. Braden Smith really struggled. Fletcher Lawyer, Painter told us last week, he's kind of battled through a calf injury or something all year. And you could tell he's not shooting the ball well. And who, besides Jalen Hood-Schifino, Miller Kopp, a veteran, was solid. And Trey Galloway's, that was the key for me, as well as Jalen. Trey Galloway made some big shots to keep him in it, to keep them in it and kind of get it rolling in the second half.
Yep. All right, John, let me ask you this question. Let's assume that Xavier Johnson does come back, right?
Yep.
Who, if you wake up on Selection Sunday and you see in your bracket that you have Purdue or Indiana in that bracket, who are you more scared of? Who are you more worried about playing when it comes to
I'm definitely more worried about Indiana because I feel like there's a game plan for Purdue. Now, if you beat them or not is on you, but there's a game plan for Purdue, and you can beat them if you stick to a game plan. Indiana has that buzzsaw tendency where, you catch them on the wrong night and there's nobody that's going to beat them. They're probably not going to be a super high seed. So, I mean, they're going to have to play against a top team early, and I feel terrible for that team because they're peaking at the right moment. Hood Schifino looks like a pro out there with the mid-range and just the floats and the way he handles the ball and just kind of gets into his bag. They're really good.
How good do you see him at the next level, John? Because
I was watching tonight and I was like, you know what? How tall is he? Is he 6'3"?
6'5"? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he could be in the league he would be a combo guard. He wouldn't be would he be a lead guard in the NBA?
He can play. Yeah, I think he can. I mean, I think he's the lead guard in the league.
Yeah, at 6'5", doing that. If he keeps going on that, he'll shoot up the boards. I don't know if he's a first rounder and I haven't paid attention.
Oh, he'll be a first rounder.
Okay, so if he keeps playing like that, the tournament is going to kind of solidify his spot. He could be one of those late movers as well because he literally, I mean, he couldn't guard him tonight. I mean, just how crisp he was with his handle, the mid-range, the touch. He's tough.
Really tough, and improved three-point shot. He's had enough games where he shot it very well from three that, to me, I think he'll go in the lottery. I really do.
I do too. It's what's really impressive to me, Jeff, is he's the passing out of the ball screens, right? It's not every single time, right? And it's not every single possession. And I do think that he needs to develop his ability to be more than just like a mid-range pull-up shooter, because that's kind of what he is right now. Extend that range, be more consistent from three, be a better passer, but he can make those reads. You can see him as he's coming off a ball screen, just kind of reading like, okay, the tagger's right there. This guy's in drop. I'm going to have the floater, and the floater's not there. All right, I'm going to fire it over to the weak side corner, right? He made a couple of those passes. You could see him kind of processing that. So I think that it's there. I honestly, I said this like 3 weeks ago. I think Indiana is a very real Final Four threat because they have all the pieces that you need, especially if they get Xavier Johnson back and Xavier Johnson can provide anything.
Okay, so can I stop you there? Can I stop you there on one thing?
Okay.
Do they want Xavier Johnson back at this point? With 2 games left in the regular season, do I want him back with the way they're playing right now and the roles that – I'm not sure I want him back. I don't know. I like Xavier Johnson.
It depends on if he's going to buy in. It depends on if he's going to buy in.
Well, what about the health? Not even the buy-in.
Woodson's an NBA guy. He might work him back in there slowly and see what happens. And he might
slowly. You got 2 games left.
Hey, look. Hey, have him come off the bench, play some spot minutes, see how he fits in.
But here's the thing with that. If he doesn't play again, Rob knows this too. We're in Bloomington. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't play another game, there's a chance he could get another year, come back, be the guy next year because Trace is gone and Jalen's going to be gone.
Yeah.
So he could be, if he gets a waiver, come back, be the guy, be at 100% rather than come back, play it 50% or 75% for 10, 12 minutes, and then any sort of even a two-way option would be very, very difficult.
Yeah. Well, the big thing for him, I think, if you want to talk about what like this year, just Indiana this season, it's the buy-in. Like, does he care more about winning or more about proving how good he actually is, right?